TA skills as well, but not to the same extent as TB and Slark does.
No, certainly not. We'll have to wait and see exactly how it pans out, John. Of course, game number 1 between Shopify Rebellion and Entity is now officially underway. It is a best of 2 series for anyone that wasn't aware, and well, there we go. Good luck, have fun's coming out. ATF's already started the tipping process here against Arteezy, which is something I was easily expecting from the man. I do miss watching some ATF Dota. Let's look at some deep wards down in the mid lane already, but Shopify going for a very cheeky smoke into the Radiant Triangle. And they may actually find themselves a Watson TB very, very soon. Watson, oh, he's a bit out of position here, Watson. They're going to see him, but no, he'll go by the tier 1. They don't see him quick enough with the nighttime vision.
Feed me if you must.
TZ welcoming back Amar while we're at it. And Amar gives him the thank you, which is very nice.
Seconds to battle.
Yeah. You know, it's been a hot minute since we've seen Amar back, so happy to see him back, I suppose. And tips coming out, you know, sending a message.
TZ knows what he's in for. He knows what he's in for, John. He's just trying to be nice before it gets nasty.
It's always going to get a little bit nasty when you're up against Amar in that offlane if he does pop off. We shall see. And there's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of stall. You can see how the lanes break out. I think it's a little bit unfortunate you can't run like the Drow Tusk, but Drow plus Treant is still a really strong lane. Again, you can kind of punish this early greed Entity has. Like, Slark will still need some time to build up, will still need some space to ramp up. So, that is a factor here to consider for Entity.
That it certainly is. Let's see how it does pan out. Of course, can have a look at that top lane for now, I suppose. The Drow, the Treant. I mean, it's a pretty strong combination when you're up against the Slark Shadow Demon. So I'm looking forward to seeing what ATF does about this this safe lane issue, right? Because again, like, maybe you don't worry so much about the Treant now that you have this Slark, but I still think it's pretty concerning, at least for Kataomi, who's kind of being harassed right now by Fly. Let's go for the cheeky Leech Seed, but once you hit that level 2 timing on the Treant Protector, it could be a pretty damn dangerous lane, and bottom lane is where the first blood's actually drawn, as Saberlight already securing first blood on Watson.
Yeah, that's a pretty nasty combo. 2 really tanky heroes that can just commit. Fairblade level 1, not the best, already having to go for Metamorphosis over the usual reflection that we constantly see. So, can't really fight back too hard. Tag team plus Starbreaker. It's just a lot of physical damage to lay out, plus the tag team amp. Not the best feelings for Watson. And, you know, Fishman also going for the usual level 1 Fatal Bonds. Means that he doesn't really have a way of poking them back. So, you have to be a bit cautious about that. Good start for Shopify Rebellion, already applying that pressure here.
It certainly is. Looking back up the top lane, Fly was being harassed out quite hard here by ATF. And I think ATF, knowing that the Treant Protector is not going to be too big of an issue for him, ATF going to be fine for now, but so will Arteezy. Obviously, no real threat for the Drow Ranger. Of course, mid lane is probably the one lane we haven't really talked about yet, but you had Arbed against Stormy here in the mid matchup, and for now it's very, very even between the two. I imagine it's probably going to remain even for most of this laning matchup.
Yeah, I can imagine Abed getting a little bit more. Again, you don't have the easiest way to melt through Refraction here as the Pangolier. Your slashes just don't cut it. So you should be able to just be comfy for Abed. Has the value point in Meld to play and poke a lot harder. Storm commits. It's going to be down to how many stacks you can bring out, I feel like, especially for Shopify Rebellion. It does feel like the stacks are a big effect.
Watson's gone again. Saberlight able to take a secondary kill already on the Dawnbreaker. Fishman unable to help him out whatsoever on the Warlock, and well, that is not good news if you're Entity. Like, losing your TB twice in a row, not the greatest feeling, and well, at least he can TP back to the lane. That's the one positive, is he had TP available.
It's a little bit rough. It does feel like you're going to need something like your Upheaval in lane to actually cut off that aggression, cut off that move forward from the Tusk, but you don't have that value point from Fishman just yet, and Watson just needs to be really cautious. Every time that Metamorphosis is down, he's just vulnerable.
So much damage being dealt at top lane as well, ATF and Kataomi. Now, oh, Watson! Watson's down again. We did not catch that one. Neither did I, Jonathan. I was looking up top. But Watson gets caught by the Shards of Crit. Not really sure how he got to that position. Very far forward by the bottom tier 1 of the Dire. So, interesting position from Watson. I think Fishman was trying to go back for a pull, and
big bowl of failure.
Well, he's died 3 times now. So, very, very awkward scenario for the position 1 TB. And this time, Jonathan, no positives. He will have to walk back to the lane.
Yeah, I believe Fishman was actually going for the Lotus. So he went to the right side, was walking through the tree line, and just... You can't leave this Terrible alone. Like, in melee form, just a sitting duck to these two really tanky melee heroes. Even though you have a lot of armor, Tag Team helps soften that up, so you can just always commit with a Starbreaker. Celestial Hammer damage is pretty damn strong still, despite being touched down a couple of times before. So, it's much more passive for the side of Entity, especially since you didn't go for upheaval at all. And that means your laning presence really isn't there. So you have to play a slower lane with a Warlock support, you have to hope for stacks. Just get some levels up, get some stats up before you really start to do anything here for Watson, but it sets a really good tone for Shopify. All these kills coming out for Saberlight means that eventually this level 6 timing's gonna line up, and then that global aggression can kick in, and just show up wherever your Tusk rotates, and you suddenly have a 3-man on any single lane.
Absolutely. So far, a fantastic start for Shopify Rebellion. And they can really start to snowball out of control rather soon if this keeps up. It's such a greedy style of draft from Entity as well, right? Like, it's not the style of draft that necessarily plays well from behind. Considering your offlane is a Slark, for example, it can be very rough to try and keep up if the tempo does get set a little bit too quick here from Shopify. And you're seeing, like, down to that bottom lane for a moment, like, Watson's just hanging by the tier 1 tower now, obviously fearing for his life just in case Saberlight makes his move. Saberlight going to intervene with that small camp pool and just take over. This Dawnbreaker might just be a huge issue this game as well. Saberlight top of the CS board right now. And we've seen how much this hero can hurt. Right, like you get to the point where you've got that Blade Mail Desolator timing. My goodness, that Starbreaker just deletes you.
It's a lot of output, even for something like the Terrorblade. Until he gets some stat items up, it's not going to be comfy. They are rotating up top here.
Yeah, this will be a big one. Arteezy. No, he's going to go for a run and he'll be fine. Back Fishman. He's the one in danger. Crit with a very nice rotation out will protect Arteezy, but now Crit needs some help because Arteezy's actually backed his way out of here. Fearing the Fatal Bond's damage. Did not want to continue trying to go for that kill, so they just let the Warlock walk away. I suppose as long as Arteezy survives his top lane, you're probably going to be more than happy.
Yeah, it's a lot of commitment, but you can leave that bot lane solo for the most part with how much Saberlight's gotten. So you can choke out this aggression up top, keep giving Artur and lane to play in. And it's really hard to gap close for Amar. If he's level 3.
Uh-oh. Fishman again, but here comes Watson. Watson's joined top lane now. Crit, he might still find Fishman, but no, the disruption. It's going to buy a bit of time. Fishman, still trying to survive, will eventually go down, but so does Crit. So Fly and Crit both losing their lives here to the side of Entity, and that was a very unexpected rotation from Watson. Who actually rotates right back through the Twin Gates down to the bottom lane. So just joining in for that team fight and just leaving immediately.
I like that read. You know, he knows he can't really get too much out on his lane. He needs some recovery. He joins in for a kill, goes back to the camps to farm, and they start to build up a little bit more on Amar. So it's really down to getting the Slark off to the point where it can start to commit and go hunting. Already the double Wraith Band's up, feeling pretty solid here for Amar. Mid lane's a little bit more troublesome.
Oh boy. Yeah, he had to go for the Rolling Thunder to try and survive the damage output of Arbed. This is his only play really, but Arbed, he seems to know he's around. I think he saw one of the creeps. Stormstormer immediately TPing away is going to be alright. Very, very scary kind of outlook there had he not had the TP available, but he is fine. Is now bottom lane. Watson was in danger again from Saberlight, but they don't land the final smash from the Starbreaker. So it looks like he's going to be just fine. But even just Saberlight on his own is just providing so much pressure as Watson again in 2 seconds could be dead. But the Starbreaker was on cooldown long enough that Watson is able to walk out of there. Instead now Fishman's rotated up towards the top lane again on the Warlock, so just giving up on the bottom lane altogether is the Warlock. Just trying to see if they can slow down Arteezy. But he's also farming quite safely, John. There's no real opening to try and get the Drow Ranger here from Entity, I don't think.
It's just hard to kind of gap close when you have to deal with a tree.
Oh, Fishman. Poor old Fishman, he just TP'd back down to the bottom. He just went through the Twin Gates and immediately Crit was just waiting.
Yeah, this is a pretty awful start for Entity. Shopify Rebellion kicking up with all gears open. They're feeling great. I mean, you've got a really free lane for Abed mid. You've got Saberlight, #1 in net worth, already has Phase Boot, Soul Ring, waiting for that Solar Guardian usage to come out. You have Artesian still a pretty secure lane. Stormstormer.
Again? Another Rolling Thunder used just to try and secure a power rune this time around. The question is, can he actually get out now? Because the snowball's going to follow him up. Stormstormer still has time, but no, he doesn't. Swashbuckle away, not going to be enough yet. Crit will chase him up. The Crit's out of mana too. He does have a blood grenade, but it's not going to land anyway. Crit's the one to go down. Oh, he was 1 mana short from the shards being up. Literally 1 mana.
A little bit painful. Good commitment out, but doesn't net them the kill they'd want. Upheaval as well. That slow is just so damn annoying. They do manage to get the Slark for the trouble though. While that happened, Solar Guardian was committed out from Saberlight, so we are finding action elsewhere. Not the biggest loss for Shopify to miss out on that kill and sacrifice the Tusk. And again, you're still getting everything you want here for Shopify. A lot of early activity. Your towers are going to be intact. I don't see Watson making any early moves with this Metamorphosis. And Terrorblade's having to sit back and farm for a Midas. This just stalls out the game for Entity. You know, where normally a good Terrorblade game, again, you see that clump up mid with an early Dragonlancer, Yasha, you start pushing in. You're not going to get any of that tempo out. So the only hero that feels like it can play right now is Stormstormers. And this Pango can get stuff done, especially once the Diffusal's up. Amar, he's also gunning for that same Diffusal, but all the openings you're going to be looking for here for Entity is just down to the Pango.
Oh man, but he's coming in. Crit, he's going to try and avoid the Rolling Thunder with the Snowball, but he needs more help than that. In comes Arteezy. Stormstormer realizing he's completely surrounded. The whole of Shopify just showing up. And now Kataomi. The poor guy just trying to save his mate. He's probably just dead with him, as Saberlight will secure the kill himself. Narbed, well, he is still dropping. Fishman being a real nuisance here with the upheaval, but it's not going to be enough in the end. Narbed able to secure us. Now in comes Watson, but the silence is out. Crit trying to block his way in, but will go down. So at least Watson gets something for their trouble, but it really isn't much.
No, it's not enough. Kind of compensating. We were just talking about how much Stormstormer needs to get done here. And he tries to go for a solo play mid, no backup from his supports. Backup comes in way too late. And it does buy you space in your side lanes, I suppose. You know, it's time for just waiting for these Diffusals to be up. But the Shopify Rebellion are getting way too much off the map. 2k up. They've managed to get this running start going for Arteezy and for Abed. Saberlight just going in like a madman. Almost has his full Echo Saber up. They've got everything they need. Again, they can always stall out these pushes as well when they start to commit. You've got the level 2 living armor ready to just go onto any tower. Even if you do clump up on the side of Entity to try to push, whether or not you have enough damage remains to be seen right now.
There we go, top lane. Entity looking to try and find this Drow Ranger. At least try and secure the top tier 1 tower if you can. They'll head the way of the Drow, though Arteezy is right by the tier 2 tower, so it's not going to be that simple to take him out unless he does move towards the left. Meanwhile, Fly has shown up, and Arteezy, no, he does get caught. They've got the Disruption, they've got the Rolling Thunder, but the Solar Guardian is going to come through from Saberlight to try and buy a bit of time here for Arteezy to try and survive through this one. But the Rolling Thunder just going forever, ensuring the Drow does go down, and now even the Golem drop. Saberlight trying to salvage this situation, but he will die as ATF able to land the pounce and secure the kill. And Arteezy not expecting that huge rotation from Entity, but at the very least it does pay off for the Radiant.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised. I thought the ping was coming out in the creep wave, seeing that someone blocked it in the smoke, but it's hard to really spot that kind of movement out for sure, even with the blocks and your creeps. And they find that big kill. It's a major kill coming out. That's Amar's full Diffusal coming in. So the Slark can start to play a little bit more. It's space coming out for the Terrorblade to play safely down bot. And it equalizes the game just a tad bit more. And this is when the tempo can start to kick in for the side of Entity. With the threat of the Golem every 2 minutes, it can change the direction of a fight. And that's the one issue for Shopify Rebellion in these fights. We've seen the Warlock be a really massive nuisance. Like this upheaval in the back. You don't have the high mobility heroes to catch him out. Mainly just crit. You're gonna have to try to rely on like snowballing the Warlock to stop a good upheaval, and the Fishman just gets a good position. I don't see how you can safely try to engage or disengage for Shopify Rebellion here.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty rough. Top lane, ITF has found Arteezy with the Diffusal Chisel Blade, but Arteezy's going to look to try and turn this one around. Doesn't really do much damage to ATF though, so ATF going to be just fine to walk away. You know, the real impressive thing in all this, John, is the fact that Watson's top the net worth board on the TB. Like, I really just can't believe after a laning stage where he died 3 times in a row, had to walk back to the lane, and then just had to jungle, like, he's still top of the net worth board somehow. His ATF is going to get jumped. Crit will give him the punch, and well, he does have the Shadow Dance to the lead, so ATF going to try for the TP play out, and he is going to make it. Crit could not get there in time with the snowball. Very nice retreat here from the Slark.
And that's a level 1 snowball. That cooldown is pretty massive, so you don't have it in between fast enough. And they miss out on an opportunity. Again, they're pooling their resources up top. This is giving that space that Watson's been able to play with so damn nicely. And it's still Terrorblade. It still uses the illusions well. You know, illusion heroes overall have been kind of touched down a little bit. But if you get space out like this, it's still a farming efficiency machine. With that Midas up, and Watson's just fully recovered. Just below Saberlight now in farm. Eclipsing Abed, eclipsing Artur after that death up top. And that's where... This is where the game can get, again, rough for Shopify Rebellion. Because you're waiting for itemization, you're waiting for more coming out, in particular from Abed. He is going for the Blink Dragonlance. Once you have that Blink, maybe you can start playing aggressively with those Solar Guardians coming out, with, say, a Blink out from Crit when he has that available as well. And that's where they can start to kind of try to dictate, but right now for Entity, just with the threat of this team fight, with this AoE control you have, with the roll, the single target control and the durability you have, with the Slark and prolonged fights, it is a challenge. Like, they are playing really defensive right now in Shopify.
They certainly are, and I think they just have to at the moment. So the thing is, Abed just wants to farm. It seems like Saberlight's just going to do the exact same thing, just farm up for now. That does give Entity a great way of just recovering after the laning stage, which is my concern for Shopify, but I'll see how they try to deal with it. So we are going to have the reconnection now from Kataomi. So hopefully we can get this game 1 back underway very, very soon. The state of the game is still very, very close. Like, it's just a 1k advantage for Entity, but that draft of theirs, though, like Pango TB and Slark is something you don't necessarily want to have to deal with in the mid to late game. It'll seem like a very painful experience. This top ATF is going to be snowballed here by Crit. Solar Guardian out as well. In comes Saberlight to try and help out, but ATF still running. Does get the Shadow Dance, but no, Saberlight actually able to secure the kill with the Starbreaker. Shadow Dance not going to be enough as Fly does get caught, but gets the overgrowth off in time, and in comes Saberlight from the side to try and catch Fishman, but the upheaval slow and the purge, it's so hard to get through, but it seems like they will catch Fishman. They'll get themselves a secondary kill, and of all things, Fly actually gets away from this. The Treant never died.
That was a lot of commitment out from Entity. A massive
Kataomi
chaotic offering.
Finding out the hard way that the stacks were being taken. I believe Abed was just taking those away on the TA, and what can you do? Sometimes you walk up to the triangle and you find out that the enemy team's just sitting there waiting.
I like seeing this from Shopify. They're finding some openings. They're finding whenever Amar's just kind of playing by himself, they don't have that response ready on Entity. Again, they kind of lack mobility outside of their tank. Here, you've got this global presence with your Dawnbreaker that we were talking about, right? Like, just one here on the map, or Crit +1 turns into a 3-man rotation in a snap. Just really easy to melt down with how much you've gotten out here. Amar sneaking around the triangle a bit.
He's gonna not see Crit yet. Tim Fog, I believe, will walk away. Middle lane, Abed will be slowed up. No mana left on Abed, but he is able to blink away with that last refraction charge. Thing is that they have found him, so this will be a huge kill for Entity. So Abed really has no way to get himself out of this one. They do find the TA. In fact, Watson, he's found himself fly on the tree and protector, but instead he wants the tier 1 mid tower. That's what he's here for, and that's what it looks like he's gonna get. I don't think there's any defense to come from Shopify.
It's a little bit stalled out, but Watson does hit that timing of Yasha Dragonlance. Shows up for the mid-siege. They do have limited armor, but it is on cooldown from Flies. Can't really stop that.
Saberlight. It's being chased by Stormstormer up at top lane, though he does manage to blink the right way, and Stormstormer will lose him in the end, so won't be able to secure the Dawnbreaker at the very least. Saberlight currently the highest net worth for Shopify Rebellion, so that Dawnbreaker quite important on their end of things. The Stormstormer and Fishman still hanging around. Celestial Hammer is going to fly through, and Fishman, he's going to be the target. Go for the easy Warlock kill if you can, though. Fishman, he is slowly healing up, but it should be enough. Fly will pick up the kill on the tree.
Not the biggest
Roche
loss. That
time.
could lead into a Roche timing here. You don't have something like the Deso, but double meld tag team should be enough to melt through that objective. And Entity, they don't have that area warded up. They don't have any info. It should be a freebie for Shopify to kind of play off the map now.
Who do you give the Aegis to? You just give it to Arbed, just have the TA have a secondary life?
Yeah,
it seems like that's probably the way they go. Yeah.
You don't really need it in Saberlight. He's durable enough. He's got the Exovir. He's got like 2k HP. Decent amount of armor. Abed's the one being caught out. He can use that second life well with a blink plus a refraction. So you don't mind that too much. A little bit of a injection for Shopify as they are ahead in kill at 7-14, but Entity, you're keeping the game even despite all those stats. Still 1k up. Rather even game, but they're on the hunt.
Oh, Arteezy, bottom lane, they found the primary target. ATF gonna slow him up. Solar Guardian gonna fly through though to try and stun him up, and they do catch him. The Rolling Thunder unable to go forward, so Amar, he does go down. Stormstormer in the meantime, what a perfect block from Crit. Just ensuring he can't go towards the east. He'll still get there though. The shield crash up. He'll make it away for now, though Saberlight does get a little bit of vision for a moment. Has a blink up in one. Could use it now, though needs a bit more vision to actually see where to blink to, and it seems like he's lost Stormstormer. The Pango does get away. No more chase, but you do get ATF from the offlane, so that's something.
Yeah, it's a nice kill to find. It does cost you usage of Overgrowth, but again, you're just looking for these punishments. You manage to save Artur from rotation out, and you're buying time to kind of build up on this Drow TA. Like, you are basically at the Ags timing here for RTZ, and there you go. With the disassembly, does have it fully up. You've got the Hyperthermia to play with, which is massive against something like the Slark and TD. And up against a Warlock. Jumping forward.
Yeah, mid lane. Seems like they found themselves Fishmen. We're old Fishmen. Go down, very easy pick up there from Shopify. Question is now, can they commit for the tier 1 mid? And I think the answer is clearly yes. You're not going to fight against this Aegis TA. You've already got the opposing mid-tier 1 tower if you are Entity. So no reason to really stick around. Now let this one go. Where do you head now? Saberlight having a look for that Shadow Demon behind the tree line, but not going to quite find him. So they'll head bottom lane with Arbed and Crit, see if they can find this Pango. Or even ATF's around that bottom lane area, but he looks much safer with his own position. They do actually TP back, but Fishman gonna get run into by Crit. Crit, realizing there's more than one hero, just gets himself out of there. No need to risk it.
Don't want to give any openings out to Entity. You're starting to hit some critical timings. The short for Amora is going to be a big one. Having that Depth Shroud to help break up these fights is kind of one way to, again, stall out, buy time, actually allow your Terrorblade to try to play in with a save. You've also got the Manta being worked on here by Stormstormer, so a Self-Dispel on hand to take care of the root is going to be pretty massive as well, as he's not going to be worried about that Overgrowth anytime soon once that's fully done. It's a little ways off, though. Again, it's a rather even game. Like, the win probability is leaning a fair bit towards Shopify Rebellion at 39 to 61, but anything could happen. You know, that could swing with one bad movement out from Shopify. So far, though, Shopify have been extremely disciplined. Looking for these openings, being efficient on the map. They've got the full Deso out for Abed with that Blink Dragonlance up. Arteezy, again, he's got that full Ags. He's got his Dragonlance back up, working towards his Hurricane Pike for some safety. And at that point, that's where you start to ask yourself if your catch is enough. Are you really able to trap that Drow with a Hurricane Pike? With just the Slark and Rolling Thunder? It doesn't feel easy to punish Arteezy once that's up.
Right now, they're trying to punish Stormstormer here in this Radiant Triangle, but he's going to be able to walk away. Is Arbed and Crit trying desperately to find somebody to kill off here on the map, but they have not been able to find anyone on their own. This Watson does get scanned out on the top side of the Dire Jungle, but So they're probably going to leave him be for now. Like Saberlight rejoining his team in the mid lane.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
22-minute power rune is going to be an arcane, though I've been looking to try and race for it, but no. Stormstormer again going to pop his Rolling Thunder, but he will secure the arcane rune, so there's that.
You don't mind that too much. You can try to play aggressive, I guess. Should last long enough for the next Rolling Thunder usage. And that should line up with the Manta timing that we were talking about here for Stormstormer. He has a lot of security in place for himself. Shopify, though, smoked up on the hunt.
ATF. We're going to be the target, and there's your jump in. Crit, perfect punch out. They knew he didn't have the Dark Pact available. In fact, Saberlight having a look for a little bit more. Not able to spot out Kataomi, but it doesn't really matter. They've got a bottom tier 2 tower to take, and Shopify, they'll make very quick work of it. No problem for Shopify Rebellion. And I'll tell you, John, I'm really starting to question now the draft of Entity, because when you're behind like this, what are you meant to do apart from farm?
They're not playing as 5 just yet on Entity, right? Up top.
They jump in. They've got Stormstormer now, though a nice swashbuckle away. He's going to save his life with the side blades. Oh my.
If you must.
That was close, Harvey. I don't know if he knows how close that was, but that was close.
He landed that. He went for the deny in his trap. Bounces away, so I have to watch for that output, but it's getting a little bit scary. Like, outside of just, they need to try to play for the team fights, you know? Play with that overwhelming shared damage that we were talking about. The Fatal Bonds, plus you don't even have the Disseminate hub. Once you maybe play with that, you play with good Chaotic Offering, that's where the game can start to shine. For now, it doesn't seem like Entity want to, although they'll go for this 4-man smoke now.
Well, they're going to try. They've got every spell up, including that arcane rune we saw earlier. In fact, he has popped it, never mind that, but they are going to be on the hunt for somebody, and obviously that somebody would preferably be Arteezy. Up towards the north Entity go. Having a scout around in that newish jungle, but nobody's around there from Shopify at all. Shopify have split up perfectly in a way that they're just not going to get caught like this. In fact, I believe they've just read this movement. Shopify, they avoid it perfectly.
Nothing being given out towards Entity. They get a good read with no one showing on the map. And they just keep this farm game up. I mean, you have all of this gold on Watson. You want to utilize it. It's got the full Scotty up. And he's going for the butterfly next. This terribly needs to get something done on the map. They could try to group up for this top tier 2, I suppose. Creep wave is kind of held back, though. The traps are kind of damaging these creeps. So it can be a little bit annoying to try to siege up. And that's just space for Shopify Rebellion anyway. All of them are managing to build up into farm. You've basically got almost everyone going for a 4-staff at this point as well. So you've always got a bailout if that Slark is trying to hunt you. So Amar's not being able to just try to look for easy targets to pin down with the pounce. And that's, again, that's where the challenge lies here for Entity. Like, Slark is your main catch, followed up by probably just a Rolling Thunder. And that's it. That's all you have to play with in terms of going for these pickoffs outside of big team fights with Chaotic Offering, which, again, we haven't seen from Entity at all.
Definitely a rough position here for Entity, but we'll see if they can turn this one around. Like, can kind of try and put all the eggs into the Watson basket right now with the way things are going. Still top of the net worth board on the TB, so that's some good news here for the Entity fans out there. Shopify Rebellion, though, playing much more like a team at the moment, which is, I suppose, much more important here in this game 1. A quick scan out on Saberlight, but he'll just walk out. I suppose if you're Shopify Rebellion, you're just more than happy to play the slow game. Like, look at this. Fly, he's actually surrounded by multiple heroes up top lane, but they just can't catch him. 3 heroes up top. Now more incoming. Fly wants to set up, and with a perfect overgrowth, he finds 2 targets. Poor old Fishman looking to melt, though. There's the depth straight out from Amar to try and keep them alive, but in comes the Solar Guardian from Saberlight, though Saberlight, he's gone too far this time. It's a 1-for-1, but a great trade for Entity. As Fly will be able to TP out in the Roshan pit, and everyone else is looking to be okay. Crit, I mean, he's still hanging around, but he has not been spotted, though ATF is having a look around that tree line, but can't. Oh, Crit, let's reveal his position. They'll run south, try to chase down the task. Crit, he'll blink towards the south and go for the TP play out. And oh, the bounce. So close yet so far.
That would have been, that was pretty scary for Crit. A really optimistic play. I like the idea behind it, you know, just fly scouting around. They tried to make this gate play. Doesn't line up. Have to be careful of bleeding out more. They did bait out some big spells and chaotic offerings taken away, but you find that massive kill on Saberlight onto Watson as well. Like, and this Terrorblade is, it's a force to be reckoned with right now. And once that butterfly is fully up, no one's gone for anything like an MKB just yet. So the evasion's gonna make it twice as annoying to deal with Watson. Again, you don't have that magical damage here. They'll try for a smoke play out, knowing that the chaotic offering's down.
Roshan's up in 45 seconds. They'll get some D-wards off. Roshan now evidently not available. Quest still hanging around the area. Amar right by Fly in the tree line, though neither have seen each other yet. Crit's gonna spot out ATF. ATF trying to move in onto the task, will try to walk away, but there's a snowball to connect, and he's forced to pop the Shadow Dance to ensure his survival, but he does still have the Depth Shroud available. Roshan's still 17 seconds away.
They're clumped up for it. And they know they've got to take this in Shopify. They have such fast clear for it, but Entity won't let it out for free. Oh.
Get rid of the illusions there. Crit just ensuring. Get rid of him. No need to have him around. And now officially Roshan is available. Thing is, Watson has the perfect butterfly timing for this team fight. He just picked it up.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And they'll go for a smoke of their own now.
But that falls so
Roshan.
fast.
Oh my goodness, that is a quick Roshan. It's gone. Do you fight? Entity is still hanging around on the high ground. Who have they found? Sableye was spotted. Meanwhile, ATF actually found Arteezy on the Drow Ranger, though Arteezy trying to walk out of there. Will be fine for now, and in comes the damage. ATF is just down. Arteezy still getting trapped up. Will lose his first life, but he has the Aegis, so he's got a second. Watson's the one that might need some help, but he's trying to man-fight against everybody. Meanwhile, Watson not really getting too low, so Crit and Sableye are both going to drop to the TP. Do they lose Kataomi? Do they keep going, Entity? It's a 2v3. It seems like they'll just want to get out of this.
Arteezy?
So Watson waiting for Arteezy with the perfect Sunder. Arteezy somehow still alive. Watson, though. Watson's a huge problem. He's the last man left standing for Entity. He will not drop.
Watson missed one hit on Artur. That Elven Tunic. 16%, man, and he misses on that one hit that probably could have found him the kill on the Drow.
Beautiful.
But they managed to take out the Aegis here for Entity. They managed to clean up. That's not a fight that they necessarily had an advantage in, and they still managed to make it work. So you take away the advantage of Shopify Rebellion, keep this game even, and you start to show off this threat of the Terrorblade. Right? Like, with the butterfly up, you're going to have to pivot for an MKB here on Artur and maybe even on Abed if he feels the need to, although for now he is going for the full Daedalus first. But it starts to, again, get troublesome. Like, you saw that great positioning coming out for Fishman, dropping the Golem to cancel off the Solar Guardian, managing to get a really good use of the Upheaval as well, with nothing to cancel. And that slow just trapped in the two melee supports in that area. Like, they just melted from follow-up. Watson was just free to control that fight. Like, you have to find a way to catch this Warlock out first. If you take out the Warlock and, to an extent, also the Shadow Demon, it's going to be a massive issue once he has this full Ags up. If you can take out these supports first, that's where the game simplifies for Shopify. But again, how do you jump the back line here? It's just down to Crit and Abed. They've got to find something with these blinks up. They're the high mobility heroes that need to go on the hunt.
But they are. And pings are coming out towards Stormstormer at the bot lane, but he's got plenty of help behind him. So not really the easiest option to go for here. In fact, another group up from Entity. Perhaps a smoke to come. And there it is. A 4-man smoke up from Entity. ATF on the opposite side of the map right now, but he's looking to try and connect with his team. They do draw the line out toward the dire triangle. There's actually plenty of heroes around that area as well. Mind you, Abed did just pick up a Daedalus, so this could be pretty awkward timing for Entity now, but they do spot out the TA. Reflection will be the initiation they're looking for, but they need a bit more than that. Stormstormer. I mean, he popped the rolling Thunder trying to reach them, but it seems like they're going to find nothing.
That was really unfortunate. Watson chose to use his conjure image right under a trap, so that just allowed Ovid to instantly just pop away.
ATF, he's going to get jumped, disruption. It's going to buy a bit of time for ATF to find a way out, but he's already lost over half his HP. ATF able to get out with the Shadow Dance for now.
Radiant's top tower
We'll be okay to just walk out of there as
is under attack.
seems like Kataomi will heal him up with the Demonic Cleanse, and that's going to be enough. Entity don't want to waste any more time here, and neither do Shopify apparently. Though they have drawn the line out into the Radiant jungle rather, so it looks like they might go for a bit of a chase. But a very prolonged one at that. They are taking their sweet time with this.
Yeah, just taking control of that bot jungle. I don't think you want to force this fight out for Shopify, really. It can be a bit scary. Again, if you don't find this Fisherman Warlock, if the Chaotic Offering comes down with the Upheaval, you're going to be stuck in a really bad spot, even with that Rolling Thunder down. Just this space that allows the Terrorblade to clean everyone up on his own terms it's not going to be a fun time. So they play it safe, they keep up this build-up, keep the arms race going here for both sides. Slight advantage coming out to Entity. Most of that is only on Watson.
Oh, speaking of, he's okay. He has the silver edge up. He'll be able to walk out of that one. The Fly did have the overgrowth if he wanted to commit for the kill, but it's like it just wasn't worth the risk. Not right by the mid-tier 2 tower, that is. So I mean, 11 to 22, the win probability rather is at 58% for Shopify, but it's still such a close game, and they might run right into each other in the mid lane. ATF getting slowed up by a trap is trying to bait them forward, it seems, because Watson is right around the corner. In goes the Harpoon usage on Crit, but Crit does manage to walk his way out to no Arteezy. He jumps in onto ATF, but also blinks his way out of there. A lot of kiting in and out for now, as Fly has actually found Watson on the TB. This will be the big target. They'll make the jump in with the Walrus Punch, but Watson, he's still okay. He's trapped in the shards, but he's really just taking no damage, as Fly's the one to go down. Meanwhile, Stormstormer, he will drop to Arbed. And in goes the snowball again. Watson still being targeted. They want that TB and a perfect shot from Crit. Gonna lock him down, but a disruption now, buying a bit more time, but he's silenced up. He's got no gameplay here. There was no Manta available at the time to try and get a Sunder off. Meanwhile, Kataomi not looking too safe either. But they will not be able to get the Starbreaker in time, so he is fine. But it's looking pretty rough for the high ground of Entity now as Shopify. They might just get started.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
There's not much to scare them off now. They know where to respawn. Metamorphosis won't be up. Chaotic Offerings down. There is no tool left for Entity to try to stall this out, and the push of Shopify is overwhelming. At the very least, they still have Fortify to clear out one creep wave, but the next one's coming in. Backdoor's not going to kick up, and this takes no time at all for Shopify. At the very least, it's only one set of racks, but I can see them just committing for a mid straight up, and Ovid's getting that done for the team.
Yeah, that he certainly is. Arbed will take care of it on his own, and things are looking extremely tough now for Entity. Onto the mid-high ground they go. T3 tower under siege, and of course with the Desolator of Arbed, it's not going to take too long to get this one done. Fishman trying his best to slow him down with the upheaval, and actually does a decent job of it. While the T3 tower takes a hell of a lot of damage, it seems like they do want to get up. So Shopify, they'll just leave the building for now. No need to rush this game.
Dire are scanning.
Meanwhile, it looks like Arteezy was actually on the hunt, trying to find ATF, though ATF does manage to get his way out. And now Entity, again, are the ones that need to try and find a way back into this game, because things have still looked pretty tough for them.
Yeah, they're still rocking a lot of net worth on Watson, but he's not able to do much by himself. Everything needs to come in together here for Entity. They need to get a good Chaotic Offering, a good Upheaval out. They need to save these saving spells from Kataomi to kind of bail out Watson. They need a good Rolling Thunder. You'd want some good Fatal Bonds as well with the Disseminate, if at all possible. And Shopify Rebellion just breaking that up. They're using this mobility we've been talking about, like the pressure on Ovid and Crit to find these openings. They're playing poke quite nicely, right? They're making it hard for these supports, for these frontline heroes as well, to feel confident in trying to get a numbers advantage, looking for their own pickoffs. Like, Amara's not able to really lock anyone in, and that's where the trouble begins. You've got the full MKB up and running for Ovid with the Daedalus up. So So now that invasion coming out here for Watson is of no
Saberlight.
concern.
Radiant's middle tower
Jeez.
He just jumped in and took the tier 3 mid tower. And actually got out of there scot-free. He forces the rotation from Watson and just leaves. That was actually just beautiful from Saberlight.
Just drag them away. Take away that form. They're trying to smoke up an entity.
They might eventually get Saberlight. Saberlight doesn't realize they're right behind him, and with the harpoon, it trapped up. He'll go for the Starbreaker attempt. Golem dropped even just to ensure they can get this guy, but Saberlight, with the BKB up, he's just walking out. They actually can't kill him yet. They'll get Fly instead, but Saberlight does make it an exit.
And it's just so much commitment from entity to find basically just a pause 5. The Chaotic Offering's down once more. They can't really use the Golem to push. They don't have an angle to push onto that tier 2. They know that Shopify has rotated a little bit into that area. So it's another big spell where it's down. You don't want to take these fights. Shopify Rebellion has an opening. They do have an advantage in trying to take Roche control. It should be spawning shortly. They've got control up top for now. That's something that Entity could try to play off the back of, but I don't know if an Aegis fixes their issues here. Like, Watson with an Aegis is not really the ideal. Terrorblade with Aegis, with Metamorphosis, doesn't feel amazing if he's forced to use Metamorphosis on that first life. Mid's being shoved in. Someone needs to respond and fix this, otherwise it just melts. R2 is ready to just use an opening here.
It seems like they're actually going to prioritize Roshan anyway. Even with their mid-ranks just going down for free, they've got a top tier 2 tower, so they're just going to go for Roshan. But Abed seems to know that this is probably happening, so he actually sticks around in the Radiant base for now. Roshan's still occurring. Shopify will not have time to get this. They just split push out the bot and mid lane. And sure, you got the Aegis up now, Watson, but it goes back to the point you just made. Is it gonna matter? I have my doubts as well, John, just based off the way this game's gone.
Yeah, it's like, if you use it on Terrorblade, it feels like a very defensive Aegis, right? It's not something you just run up, play aggressive on Terrorblade, and kind of want to use your Metamorphosis on your second life. So it doesn't open up too many aggressive angles. They will at least find a tier 2 now. First tier 2 for Entity to find off the map. But their base is in a state of disrepair. Their mid tower is just being shoved in, a good chunk of damage coming out there. One wrong fight, and with this draft, Shopify Rebellion can just easily clear out any objectives left. It's not going to take them too long to, say, get one core pick off, force out spells, and just gun for the Ancient if they wanted to.
Oh, bottom lane. Entity going to be so careful not to go to that low ground. They will get there now. In fact, Saberlight's actually TPing out to defend the top lane. Entity kind of buying themselves a little bit of time now, because it seems like the side of Shopify don't really want to fight Entity with the Aegis up, which is fair enough. So you've got a period of time now where you could probably just secure more net worth on your side of things. Get some map advantage your way. That's exactly what they seem to want to do. They're just going to buy more time, give Watson more time to get up to that swift blink timing. It's a decent way of jumping the back lines, is just trying to burst down the drow immediately, I suppose. Just having that swift blink up, but it almost just feels like you're going to need more than that with the way this game's going. Not to mention, I believe Arteezy's farming up a butterfly right now, so that's probably not going to make your life very easy as the TB.
No. You're not set to have any room for something like the MKB on your side. I'm also rather curious as to keeping this
Bottom.
Amar.
Yeah, he's trying for crit. Can't actually get him though. Crit is able to walk away, spams all his spells and gets the hell out of it.
Gets the punch, gets the psychic headband to push back. I'm really curious about Amar holding on to the refresh. Double Depth Shroud is big, but you've got the full Ags up on Kataomi. Surely you'd want extra Demonic Purge and Demonic Cleanse charges. That feels like it could be massive in these fights, having this bailout. And again, Depth Shroud is pretty massive as well, so I can see why they'd stick it onto Amar for now. 13 to 25, 7k lead for Shopify Rebellion. I mean, this game's still lined up for them. Artur just clears out the Tormentor for himself and gets a shard as well, so you've got that fun Glacier to play with.
Glacier is good. Love to see it coming out.
Kind of nuts what that does, because You can basically just have marksmanship pop 100% of the time in a fight.
Here we
Like,
go.
It doesn't care.
I thought we might get to see it there, but Stormer. Arteezy not going to bother trying, and neither will Stormer. They'll just both leave each other alone. The lines have been drawn out to where Arteezy is actually hanging about.
Dire's
So if Entity can make their way
attack.
towards the west side of the map, they might be able to find this Drow. But now Fly's joined in, so Fly's around to help out, and in fact Fly might be the actual target that gets caught here.
Feed me if you must.
And he'll also be able to walk away by the looks of it. And Shopify, I mean, in the meantime, they're just spamming voice lines. In fact, ATF, the chase is on from Arteezy, trying to find where this Lark is going. Shadow Dance is going to wear off. ATF, he does have a refresher if he wants it, but it is in the backpack. For now, he'll hold on to 2 gems. Here we go again. Arteezy, able to blink away. Rolling Thunder was committed, but it seems like it's probably going to amount to nothing. He'll try to scout out with it, but that's about it. He finds nobody.
They just left that gem on the deck, by the way. It's just there
Oh.
in the open.
What do you mean?
It's
Where
just
is it?
there. Up top in the ramp by the river for top lane. It's just there. By
There's
the
a lot
river,
of ramps, Jonathan.
By the tier
Oh, I
1
see.
river ramp.
Top
Yeah,
lane,
yeah.
Jonathan, is an easy way to describe it. You know, staircase by the top lane. There you go. There's a gem sitting there.
There's
Thank
a
you,
lot
John.
I was trying to be more specific, but all right, Mike. By the secret shop ramp. One of the... Okay, there are 2 ramps, but never mind. It's hard to be hyper-specific. 2...
Thank you for that, John.
Now,
I appreciate it.
Okay, he drops it again. Pick it up, someone. Fishman? Courier? Anything?
Oh, yeah,
No?
he's just dropping gems. ATF. Hey, oh, my God. Shopify might actually get that gem as well. Here we go. Crits in. ATF jumps in after the tree and Fly. He's going to get harpooned back to ATF, but Sablelight's there to try and help him out. Meanwhile, ATF pops the depth shroud. Now refreshes, looking for another Shadow Dance, but no, ATF is gone. He refreshed with the refresher shard and it amounts to nothing. Crit in the meantime almost goes down, but eats the cheese. He will survive. Fishman is gone. Watson's trying his best to fight in this very awkward position. He'll go after Saberlight, but the Solar Guardian is going to protect for now. In with the kick. It's just making it so much harder for Entity to do anything. Stormer is down to boot. It's only Watson left, and Watson going to have his TP cancelled. He is looking as good as dead here, and he's gone.
Radiant's middle tower.
Is it time to call it?
I'd say so. You don't have Metamorphosis on the respawn, you don't have Yags up, and this just melts. Base will just melt. There's not much you can do to stop this, even with these buybacks. Let's see them try. One good news for Entity is Amar did get the courier to pick up the gem.
Very good.
They got 1 gem.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Love to see it from ATF as here we go. Jump is there. Kick is out. They've got the Pango immediately in a beautiful Starbreaker from Saberlight, locking down 2. There's the Terrorblade. Watson, he'll get the Sunder off, but it means nothing. He is down as Fishman want to join the party. He'll get the upheaval off, but the Glacier is there for Arteezy. Oh, he's king of the hill right now, though.
Those
Arteezy is
Revolutions,
actually going to go down. What is happening? They're defending for now.
Wait,
It seems
Ahmed?
Zabed's
This
in
is a
trouble.
dieback.
ATF gets a dieback. But they fought back. It's okay. Shopify. They're going to finish the game. Don't worry, John. It's just a bit of fun before the game ended.
Just a bit of fun. Just a bit of...